And what we're going to work on today is a Ming vase, a vase from the Ming period in China, in which we're using designs that I found, that I researched, and cherry blossom plant. And so the supplies you're going to need are, you'll need a white piece of paper, and you'll need another piece of paper, full piece of paper that's for the background. Like I'm using a piece of peach construction paper. So really you could use anything you want for the background. I would just maybe do something lighter and a little more neutral and soft. And then you're gonna need color pencils or markers, depending on what you're using. So for the flowers and for the vase, for the center of the flower, you'll need pink. And so it can be marker or color pencil. And then for the vase, you'll want to have two different blue markers, okay? So something darker and something lighter. And then you'll need brown for the stems on the flowers. And then if you have gray, you can use gray as well. And then you need a pencil. But then in order to color with white on a piece of construction paper, you'll need a white color pencil. And if you have oil pastel, that would be fine as well. Okay, so I think that is everything. And the only other thing I was going to suggest if you want is if you go online, I made this little packet up and some of you have done Zentangles with me already, but if you go online and you Google Zentangles, you can find so many interesting patterns that you could essentially use as part of your Ming vase designs. So if you want to do that, you can, or you can just follow right along with me, okay? So let's get started. All right, so we're gonna put this peach colored paper aside and we're gonna focus right now on drawing our vase on the white paper. All right, so the other thing is you don't have to make your vase shaped exactly like mine. If you Google Ming Dynasty vases, you will see that they come in all shapes and sizes. But I like this sort of exaggerated round bubbly vase shape, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I would say, less than halfway up the paper, I'm going to make a curved line from one side to the other like that, okay? So this would be about halfway up the paper, so it's a little bit lower than that. And then I'm going to make this sort of lip on my vessel. The two lines come down like that. And on one side, I'm gonna curve out, really exaggerate that curve out, and then come back in, and then kind of taper off there at the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I want this side to match this side as much as possible. So I'm really going back and forth with my eyes to make sure that I have it matching the other side so it is symmetrical, okay? Now what you're going to do is, even though we have this kind of crop down here, in order to make it look more three-dimensional, I'm gonna go right over here, just a little bit higher up. I'm gonna make these two marks, and that is going to become yet another curved line that joins from one side to the other. And then what I'm gonna end up doing with that is I'm going to erase this down here, and I'm going to erase this down here. So now I have my vase that sort of looks like it's floating in space right now because we need to add our table. So from about halfway up the vase, you can make a little mark over here and on the opposite side as well. And basically we're gonna do like a cropped, rounded table. And I'm gonna, make my line defined on this side, but then as I go through the vase, I'm just gonna do it really lightly so I can make sure I have the correct curve on the opposite side, but I don't wanna push hard on the actual vase because I want to be able to erase that without, any trace of it showing. So then you'll erase that middle, and then you can see that now I have my vase sitting on a tabletop. Okay, next, my friends, we're going to sort of add the top opening to our vase. And to do that, you're going to sort of do an opposite curve. But first, we're going to start by doing a little curve on the left and right side. And then we're going to do a curve that comes up a little bit. So now we have the opening to our vessel. And if you need to adjust, like what I'm doing right now, I'm adjusting because something was a little bit off. That's easy to do, right? Easy to do. Okay, so now I've got my vessel. Now what I want to do, in order to make it look like it's three-dimensional and, you know, round rather than flat, we're going to start to make sort of some panels from left to right on the vase in order to get it to be symmetrical and rounded. So from this side, I'm going to use this curve always. I'm going to always use this curve right here as what I'm going to mirror, okay? So I'm going to use the same style of curve, basically going parallel with it, and I'm going to go all the way to the other side, okay? So you see how I've done that? And then I'm going to make another piece right here that goes the same style of curve, but this band is a little bit wider, and it's the same all the way around. And then I'm going to do another one right here, same thing, going all the way around to the other side. So now I've got my curves for my vase, and you can see how I adjusted. And I've always told you guys, adjust before you erase, because when you have the mistake to compare it to, it's a lot easier to fix it. So now I have my 4 bands. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and switch directly to my blue marker, but I want you to remember that you should work in pencil, okay? Because you want to be able to adjust what you're doing, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and work in my dark blue marker, and then when you're done with your pencil, you'll be able to see what's going to be dark blue and what's going to be light blue. Okay, so up here, I'm going to do a simple sort of up-down sort of triangular pattern, and you can see how I am going around and trying to stay symmetrical as much as possible. And I've got this little spot right here, but I am not going to try to squeeze a skinny triangle in there because that would not look naturalistic. I'm just going to come up knowing that the rest of it would be on the flip side, okay? And I'm going to repeat this pattern inside of what I already have there. You see how I'm repeating that? And if you feel comfortable, guys, doing this with your blue marker immediately, then by all means do it. But if you're going to be choosing your own designs, then you might want to do it in pencil so you can adjust accordingly. Okay, for this next panel, I'm going to do a pattern of flowers, okay? So I'm going to start in the center here, and I'm going to do a circle, all right? And then I'm going to do some petals that are similar to these triangles up here, but they have a curve. They remind me of the actual vase curves. And whenever I want to do a flower and make it look symmetrical, I try to turn my paper so I can work within the shape and space that I'm desiring. So there we go. So I've got my first flower, and I'm going to do this 3 times. I'm going to do one here, and one here. And I'm not done with this yet, but I'm going to, you know, space out my flowers before I start adding my details. So here's another one, and I'm going to come up and then over to the side, and then turn my paper to make it a little bit easier to work on it. Turn it some more. And I mean, these flowers kind of remind me of poinsettias, those Christmas flowers, but you can really do whatever flower you want to do if the design of flower is what you're working on. Okay, so here's the last one. 1, and then 2, and then 3, and 4, and 5. Okay, so I've got my flower shapes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add designs around the flowers and in the petals themselves. So I'm going to add a sort of partial circle shape or circular style petal inside each of these petals, okay? So again, Each petal is going to have this rounded shape in it. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start repeating the shape around my flower petals. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and go around this and go around here and then here and then here. And I'm sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just basically doing parallel shape right around the same petals. Okay, so I'm going to do that on all three flowers. And the reason I'm not just repeating this one a bunch of times is I want to sort of have symmetry. So that's why I'm choosing to go around and do each one once and then come back and do it again and then come back and do it again. That's going to allow me to have some control over having some symmetry, because these vases often did include symmetrical designs. Okay, so now I've got that. So now, if you notice, now there's really nowhere to go around the entire flower because it gets cut off with these edges. So now what you do is you sort of create shapes inside of the areas that you're repeating again. So on this side, I'm going to follow this and follow around and do this, but then it'll stop there, and then I'll do it again. And it'll stop here. And then if I have the space, I'll do it again. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, but because these two are next to each other, I'm going to come around this one and come this way and come down, and then I'm going to come back to this one and come around and go down, and then that leaves me with like two separate spaces, so then I'm just going to focus on the two sections separately. And this is really enjoyable. I find it very relaxing to do work like this. Okay, so now I've got all that worked out there, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to repeat, 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 and then I'm going to repeat on this side, and I'm just going to basically go back and forth between the two until I have no choice but to separate the sections, okay? So here we go over here. Now the spaces are officially separated, so now I can focus on just the small individual sections. And then on this side, I'm going to do exactly what I did over here. I'm going to repeat around that, and down here, same thing. Okay, so I've got my design right there. Then on this next panel, I want to do something a little more simple. So I'm going to do this half circle curve decorative sort of band. I'm going to go like that. Notice I stopped there because you wouldn't see all of it. And then I'm going to repeat it again. So now I've got a wider band of this half circle shape. Okay, so now I've got that. And then what I'd like to do is I would like to make a circle, a circle, a circle. 3 circles to sort of make up almost like a 4-leaf clover, but it's 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you wouldn't see one over there. And then finally down here, I'm going to repeat this geometric shape that I have up here. I'm going to repeat it down here to kind of create some harmony within my piece. So same thing, moving around. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that. So there we go, and there we go. Now I'm going to use my dark blue again to go over my pencil lines. And I don't need to go over the pencil lines like the outline. It's just the lines of the bands that I created. I'm going to go ahead and cover those. But I'm going to end up cutting this vase out, so I don't need to worry about tracing the outside of it with my marker. All right, now you're going to focus on your light blue marker, okay? Your light blue marker is going to go on the inside of your designs, and it's essentially going to, and because of time and all the rest of the stuff I need to show you with this, I'm just going to start coloring a section and choose to believe that you understand how to continue. For the flowers, if you do the center in light blue, then you would do these inner petals in white, and then you could do this outline of the outer petal in blue. And I would do that. And then I would want to have a pattern of white, blue, white, blue, white, blue. So this other outer white pattern of the flower, I would leave that white, and then I would do blue here. And I would do blue here and here. So remember the blue, the light blue is on the inside of the sections and the dark blue is the actual drawings, okay? So white there again. So then this would be blue and this would be blue and that would stay white, okay? So you would do the same thing through here. And then for this one, I would color these bands, these half circle bands with the light blue, and then I would leave everything else white, and then I would color the little bulbs in blue, and then down here I would do the same thing I did up there, okay? So that is, this is it finished, okay? So once you're done with that, you would cut your vase out. And I'm laughing at myself a little bit right now, you guys, because I had you draw the table on the white paper, but we don't need it on the white paper because we're cutting our vase out of the white paper. So you actually are we're gonna redo that part on the peach paper that is for our, this is gonna get glued on top of the peach paper or whatever color you're using. So you wanna cut your vase out. I think I forgot to tell you to grab scissors, but hopefully they're close by. If not, pause and come back. All right, so glue stick. I'm gonna take this. On the back, we're gonna add our glue on the entire thing. And then I'm going to put it right in the middle of my picture on the bottom. When I say in the middle, I mean from left to right in the middle, but it's lower down here, but it's not all the way to the bottom. And then you can flip it over to really get a good amount of contact there between your pieces, okay? Once you have that, you can then go ahead and outline this part with your dark blue. And then you can use your pencil to create your table surface. So here's that curve there. You kind of just imagine going through that, and then you would finish it on this side. Now your table down here can be whatever color you want it to be, okay? It's up to you. I'm going to move on now to our cherry blossoms. Okay, so pay attention to how we do this. Now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to do a sort of a shaded, a dark kind of smoky color inside this opening right here. So if all you had, if you can't get this effect with your pencil, then you can just use a dark marker or color pencil. Okay, once that's there, then we're going to start adding our cherry blossom stems, okay? So they come up, and they go like that, and they go like that, and they connect, and they go like that, and then you could do another one. Maybe it's longer sometimes. But you see how they kind of connect to each other like that? And you would just do many of those, but I want you to pay attention to the space I've left in between because you have to leave room for your actual flowers, right? Gotta leave room for those flowers or else we won't be able to add them. Okay, so that is pretty good right there. Now, my friends, what you're going to do is you're going to draw your cherry blossoms. On every little corner where you see the pencil, like the end of the line, you are going to draw the circle and then add basically 4 circular or 5 circular shapes around it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice that I'm doing a little bit of overlapping with my petals, going like that, to kind of give them a little bit more of a layered look. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to do that everywhere that you see these stems kind of cut off. And then when you're done, you will color the petals with your white. Okay, I'm using a colored pencil and I'm pushing pretty hard. And I really like how the pencil, the white colored pencil, is interacting a little bit with my gray pencil, and it's causing this kind of smoky effect in there, and I really like that. And then in the center of each flower, you'll add your pink, okay? So I hope that you enjoy doing this project. Obviously, you're going to need to spend some more time with it because it is going to take a little more time for you to finish it up. But it's super fun and really relaxing to do, and when you're all done, you're going to end up with this really gorgeous image. I also created a shadow down here, as if I have light coming from one side and then the shadows on this side. So if you want to do that on your table, you would simply just do a sort of partial curve here and partial curve here, and then you would color that in really dark to make it look like a shadow, like a cast shadow. Okay guys, I hope you had fun doing this. I miss you so much, and I can't wait to see what you create. Love you guys. Bye.